the same note at the same time, talking about how happy they were to have me all that time and how they hate that they're going to have to lose me. So it was bouncing on both sides of the extreme. And after the facts, I told the magistrate, I said, if I would have laid a finger on him, if I would have fought back, or if I would have done to him what he did to me, he would have pressed charges. Him being in his position of power, they would have stuck, and I'd be a felon for the rest of my life. So I know how easy it would have been for him to do the same thing I'm trying to do, and he would have done it in a heartbeat. And that doesn't sit right with me. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to, I know.
Ethics, or what you meant by that.
Okay.
If you could elaborate,
okay.
please.
Okay. So, Mr. Bryant, I just want to make sure the audience knows you have 2 minutes to respond. So let's go back. Okay. I'm trying to get my words right. So I don't want to say anything that offends you.
Right. You're not going to. I got deep skin.
Okay.
That can be tough.
Well, that's good. That's good. It's a question that's, when you told me that I shook your hand.
Yes, sir. In front of your wife and your son.
In front of my wife and my son.
Yes, sir.
I was sincere.
Okay.
I was. And I give you basically my blessing. Just step in and run in my position.
Yes, sir.
So when I did, then when you went out and started getting on TV, I started getting. So you run, I'm not going to run to lose. You know what I'm saying?
At first, I didn't want to press charges, honest to God.
You are actually helping the rapport by how you're acting. The other guys on the other end of the state or the county, whatever, they are all just acting wild and yelling. Yeah.
I imagine at some point if I got whooped, like, whoop's not a good word, that's not the word I want to use, but Jackie Poe's been measurably humiliated. I imagine at some point if I got whooped, like, whoop's not a good word, that's not the word I want to use.
We're in this dirt. You old sack of mud, that's all you are. That's all we are, is a sack of mud. But while we're in this flesh, the Bible says the defining mark, really the defining mark of a Christian, the thing that sets us apart from the world, the thing that sets us apart from that mess on Wednesday night on Channel 6, is because we love everybody. It's because we show each other love. It's because we stand up together and we say we're in this battle together. Why do you think that the devil didn't like the Clyde Dupin crew say, well, he ain't Church of God? So, big deal.
We was working out, and he said something to me, I said, listen, man, talking about being saved. I said, listen, I know I'm saved. Because if I wasn't saved, when Johnny said something about my wife, I'd have cleaned the floor up, which would be true. So I know I'm saved.
Well, I know.
Because if I wasn't saved, your little butt would be hurt.
Really? What did I say about your wife?
Oh, something you said about the way she worshipped over an old church. Now, I know you forgot it. But,
right. Well, no, I'm saying
I don't watch that garbage.
Are we talking about the movements that go on?
I don't know what it was. All I know is that somebody saw it, and I said, well, it's a good thing I'm saved. You see, because if I wasn't, and it would be hard either. I can tell you that. But that's
in a different direction. We've had a lot of folks call us and ask us, well, are you going off? And yes, we are. This Sunday, this program is going to be our very last program. This Sunday, this program is going to be our very last program. This program is going to be our very last program. this program.
The reason I went to Duncanville, like the really reason I went to Duncanville, is because Ms. Benavidez told me that Patrick Harvey he had a grudge against her, had to do with her wife and a job. Now, Aretha, if I misunderstood,
you need to do, all these guys need to man up. 1 Corinthians 16:13, watch ye stand fast in the faith, quit you like men, be strong, holiness folk. They Calebites, but I do say this, Genoites need to wake up. This dude does not want to debate. You know, it is what it is. Someone says, you ought not call him a dude. Anyway, here we go. Listen to this.
I know you know Johnny Robertson here.
This dude does not want to debate. You know, it is what it is. Someone says, you ought not call him a dude.
Ethics, or what you meant by that.
Okay.
If you could elaborate,
Okay.
please.
Okay, so Mr. Bryant, I just want to make sure the audience knows you have 2 minutes to respond.
So let's go back, okay? I'm trying to get my words right.
That's all right. Take time.
So
That's all right.
I don't want to say anything that offends you.
Right. You're not going to. I got deep skin.
Okay.
That can be tough.
Well, that's good. That's good. You know, it's a question that's, when you told me that I shook your hand.
Yes, sir. In front of your wife and your son.
In front of my wife and my son.
Yes, sir.
I was sincere.
Okay.
I was. And I give you basically my blessing. Just step in and run in my position.
Yes, sir.
So when I did, then when you went out and started getting on TV, I started getting numerous of phone calls. Do you know Chris Lawless? Do you know his background? And they started telling me, and not just one person, but multiple persons telling me the same stories. Mm-hmm. Multiple people. Mm-hmm. About things, and I won't go into details. I don't do that. Sure. But I'm saying that is why I changed my mind. I won't go into details. If you don't know what they are, then I'm sorry. If you do know what they are, then that's up to you. You don't have to tell people about it. But there was some very, very nasty stuff that come up about you that I did not know about. I did my research. And I think the research that I did proved a lot of what they told me being true. Okay. I will not go into that. I won't. Sure. And I told you that before. I don't do that. But that is the reason that I run with a campaign, is because I didn't think with your background history that I heard and that I judged to be correct would make you a viable board of supervisors.
All right, Mr. Lawless, you have a minute to respond to that if you would like.
Yeah.
At first, I didn't want to press charges. Honest to God, I wasn't going to. After the fact, an apology from just about anybody, because I told Joe I didn't want to hear his apology. At first, I didn't want to press charges. At first, I didn't want to press charges. Honest to God, I wasn't going to. After the fact, an apology from just about anybody, because I told Joe I didn't want to hear his apology. He might have tried to give one. I cut him off. But Robin or Joey, I didn't expect them to take my side, but I didn't expect it to go that way completely against me.
Don't know who are Robin and Joey.
Robin is going to be Joe's wife, and Joey's going to be their son.
Okay.
Joey wasn't there during the event.
Okay, folks, I know that you can see something is up right there. Somebody's probably saying, okay. I knew it was going to finally happen. One of those guys were going to go too far, and somebody is going to end up, as they used to say, clean their clock. So, we have an interesting event tonight, and we are in politics again. And for those of you who watch our broadcast out of here, you know, you can learn a lot from watching what we do. And when I say that, I'm basically saying to you, you can change the direction of your county or your city. I mean, you just can. And you should be. I'm not saying you should be all up in politics, but the community should absolutely 100% know that if the truth is going to be told, it's going to be told by you. And what that means is then you will get a call. Can you weigh in on this? Would you, I don't write the newspaper. Caleb always was writing the newspaper. I used to write in the newspaper. People would they would want to know what our take is on these things. And, you know, if you don't have a say, if you don't have a voice, then what is the point? And so tonight, we're being invited to have a discussion that is associated with one of our local races. And so I'm playing this because this particular individual that we're going to be talking about tonight is, this would be the second time in 6 months that he's basically been really involved in, you know, kind of a media flurry. Let's put it that way. So what we will be doing tonight is we will be discussing Chris Lawless, who is a person who's running for county supervisor. We'll be talking about Joe Bryant, who is a county supervisor, seemed to be not going to run, changed his mind. And then over there at the top, we have a young man that took charges out on Joe Bryant, a sitting supervisor, 6 months ago, charged him with assault. And so, you know, I'm not trying to sway an election. What I'm trying to do tonight is we're trying to make this a teachable moment and show you just how things can get out of hand and how people do handle information, because you really have to watch this stuff. There are people that will do little things that seem to be insignificant, and they really end up being major. But before we do that, I would like to say something about our other visual. This is Mercy Crossing. Mercy Crossing is the brainchild of Jackie Poe. That's not her. Jackie is the man. Jackie was a very significant individual here in Martinsville, in Henry County, back in the 90s and the early 2000s. I'm not sure exactly when his demise was, but somebody can tell me later if Knuckles is leaving. I can't think of his first name. He replaced Jackie when Jackie went to Danville, and then COVID came along and they ended up shutting down. Jackie went back to Mount Airy. His wife died here in Martinsville. He remarried, was in Danville, and then he went back to Mount Airy, I think, which is his home. And the banner there says, "Don't you tell me he can't do it." And, you know, you just hear this all the time. They're always chanting that God's going to do this and God's able to do all of this kind of stuff. And they all shut down during COVID. And I'm going to show you just a few of the clips that we have about Jackie Poe. And I'm going to encourage you again, get involved. Your community doesn't need another fake healing group. And that's exactly what Jackie Poe was. And he was on television, so were we, and this is just a little bit of memory lane, and then we'll pick up on what's going on right now. Somebody might be telling you.
We're in this dirt. You old sack of mud, that's all you are. That's all we are, is a sack of mud. But while we're in this flesh, the Bible says the defining mark, really the defining mark of a Christian, the thing that sets us apart from the world, the thing that sets us apart from that mess on Wednesday night on Channel 6, is because we love everybody.
That mess on Wednesday night on Channel 6 was us. And he was saying that we didn't love everybody because we're telling stuff on him. And, you know, him calling it a mess is fine with me, but you thinking that you should be like just in the best standing with them, with that sect, and not ever say anything about them, like when they shut down for COVID and nobody's being healed over there, for you to think that we're better off just to get along. Well, I can tell you, I can get along with Jackie Poe. Many times I have talked to Jackie at different points about different things. But at the end of the day, we were giving him the blues on Wednesday night.
It's because we show each other love. It's because we stand up together and we say we're in this battle together. Why do you think that the devil didn't like the Clyde Dupin crusade? Well, he ain't Church of God. So big deal.
We was working out, and he said something to me, I said, listen, man, talking about being saved. I said, listen, I know I'm saved. Because if I wasn't saved, when Johnny said something about my wife, I'd have cleaned the floor up, which would be true. So I know I'm saved.
Well, I know.
Because if I wasn't saved, your little butt would be hurting.
Really? What did I say about your wife?
Oh, something you said about the way she worshiped over in the old church.
What am I supposed to do about that? People rolling around on the floor, having to have people cover their body parts up, their unmentionables, and calling that worship. And I'm going to call that stuff out. You should be calling that stuff out. He's not going to whip me, really. And even if he did, what was he going to get out of that? And he was telling another preacher that used to work here from Dallas, that moved here, he was telling him that story. And that's his proof that he's saved, is because he decided not to whip me. Well, a moment ago, he was talking about that they are standing up with everybody, they love everybody, the whole bit, and I guess the fact that he restrained himself is his proof that he's a Christian. Continue to listen.
Now, I know you forgot it. But,
Well, no, I'm saying
I don't watch that garbage.
Are we talking about the movements that goes on?
I don't know what it was. All I know is that somebody saw it, and I said, well, it's a good thing I'm saved, you see. Because if I wasn't, and it wouldn't be hard either, I can tell you that. But that's
in a different direction. We've had a lot of folks call us and ask.
And here's the real reason that I went through this montage. This was this Sunday. I'm assuming that this was this Sunday. It could have been another time frame because I don't know that Jackie was there. They had another visiting guy, and we're talking about Knuckles leaving. But nevertheless, this is one of the things that's scrolling, and we can do it. Don't tell me he can't do it. Well, listen to this.
In a different direction. We've had a lot of folks call us and ask us, well, are you going off? And yes, we are. This Sunday, this program is going to be our very last program. This Sunday, this program is going to be our very last program. This program is going to be our very last program. This program is going to be our very last.
He couldn't stay on the same television broadcast station with us. To me, that's wonderful. He's gone from the star flagship in the county. He was not able to answer us. He didn't like coming in and out of the studios, knowing that he might run into us. If he did run into us, it was always going to be cordial. We're not in this in a physical battle, but this is a spiritual warfare. And I can tell them he can't do it. The God that y'all are serving just can't do it. And all the stuff that y'all do, it's actually fake, and it is not helping our community. And so, number two, I don't think any of the preachers out there are being called to discuss what is going on with our particular race over here in the county. And you might say, well, why would they? They're not into politics. This is not a political matter. What we're going to be talking about tonight is the thing that is really destroying all of us. And that is the fact that people do not follow biblical principles. They just behave in any kind of way in order to accomplish what they want accomplished. And so tonight we're going to play a clip where these two, this is Chris Lawless, and then you're going to have Joe Bryant. When you see the clip, the other one is Joe Bryant some time ago. But when I show you this clip, you'll be able to make out what's going on here. All right, here we go.
Ethics, or what you meant by that.
Okay.
You could elaborate, please.
Okay. So, Mr. Bryant, I just want to make sure the audience knows you have 2 minutes to respond. So let's go back, okay? I'm trying to get my words right. So I don't want to say anything that offends you.
Right. You're not going to make a deep skin.
Okay.
Making it tough.
Well, that's good. That's good.
You know, it's a question that's, when you told me that I shook your hand.
Yes, sir. In front of your wife and your son?
In front of my wife and my son.
Yes, sir.
I was sincere.
Okay.
I was. And I give you basically my blessing. Just step in and run in my position.
Yes, sir.
So when I did, then when you went out and started getting on TV, I started getting numerous of phone calls. Do you know Chris Lawless? Do you know his background? And they started telling me, and not just one person.
This is what we want to do. I want to start inserting scripture right here. Do you hear how this is going? So, numbers of people, numbers of calls. People started telling me stuff about you. Do you realize what really goes on? I'm saying when this kind of stuff goes on. And do you really realize, I mean, the news station asked me, what are the scriptures about this, Johnny? This kind of thing. And we're not finished with what he ended up doing. But here's what the scriptures do say. And you might say, well, this is the Old Testament. It's going to be New Testament as well. Deuteronomy 19:15. One witness shall not rise up against a man for any iniquity or any sin, in any sin that he sinneth. At the mouth of 2 witnesses or at the mouth of 3 witnesses shall the matter be established. If a false witness rise up against any man to testify against him which is wrong, then both men between whom the controversy shall stand before the Lord, before the priest and the judges, which shall be in those days. Okay, that's very, very simple. It's like we're going to figure this out. And the judges shall make diligent inquisition. And behold, if the witness be a false witness and hath testified falsely against his brother, then shall you do unto him as he had thought to have done unto his brother. So shalt thou put evil away from among you. And those which remain shall hear and fear, and henceforth commit no more any such evil among you. Now, y'all, that just doesn't happen. And in this particular instance, as you're going to continue to see this now that you have that in your head, basically Joe has rescinded his blessing, and he's telling Chris that he's done it, and he begins this stuff. Multiple. Let's play that part again.
So when I did, then when you went out and started getting on TV, I started getting numerous of phone calls. Do you know Chris Lawless? Do you know his background? And they started telling me, and not just one person, but multiple persons telling me the same stories. Mm-hmm. Multiple people about things. And I won't go into details. I don't do that. Sure. But I'm saying,
I don't go into details. I don't do that. I just take stories from multiple different persons, and it's like, you know, Joe, the simple thing to do would just, you give us some names of some of the individuals that are telling you these stories about Chris. Well, I don't reveal my sources. Look, you're not in the news. You're not in the newspaper business. You're not in television. It's not like for some reason you can't just give a few of the people who are willing to tell tales on Chris. You can't offer us, you could have taped them. I mean, I'd be taping people all the time. And it's like, if you're going to be telling me something like that, that's unsubstantiated, I can't substantiate it. Listen, whatever it is that the outcome we're planning here, because you've got me in your plan now. Whatever outcome you've got going on, whatever plan you've got going on, I'm in the outcome. One witness shall not rise up against any man for any iniquity or any sin in any sin that he sinneth. Well, he says there's multiple people. He's not doing that. Well,
where are the multiple people? At the mouth of 2 witnesses or the mouth of 3 witnesses shall the matter be established. If a false witness rise up against any man to testify against him that which is wrong, then both the men, between whom the controversy is, shall stand before the Lord, before the priest and the judges, which shall be in those days. Now, what are they going to be doing? They are going to be making diligent inquisition. And behold, if the witnesses be false and have testified falsely against his brother, Joe, you're in this. Whatever their design is to tell, by telling you the stuff that they're telling you, and you're not telling us who's telling it in a way that it can actually be substantiated, we're not able to do our due diligence. And you are up in it, okay? What does that mean? Then shall you do unto him, that is Joe, as he had thought to have done to his brother, which would be Chris in this particular case. So shalt thou put evil away from among you. If Joe actually really believed the Bible, he wouldn't be taking all of these stories. He would actually, and if it is so bad, I mean, let's listen to how bad it is. I mean, according to these many people that, and y'all, in a minute, I'm going to demonstrate the other event that Joe Bryant was involved in 6 months ago. And we're going to compare the character of the young man that took out charges on Joe, saying that Joe assaulted him in the business that they both were together in. Joe owns the business, and the young man was one of his top hands. Everybody knew it. And we're going to have a character moment here where you're going to actually see this young guy recognize certain principles. And it's going to be glaring. So let's continue to hear. Like, here's Chris. I'm going to move it where you can have a more picture of them, see themselves, and you know, they're under bright lights. It's tough to be on television. All right. So now Chris, his mind, I'm sure, is going 90 to nothing.
And that is why I changed my mind. I won't go into details. If you don't know what they are, then I'm sorry. If you do know what they are, then that's up to you.
I'm not going into the details. What I'm doing is I'm setting the stage for everybody in the county to dream up anything they want to. Any idea. Well, how bad is it? Well, it was a lot of stories. Did he actually use adjectives yet?
Just step in and run in my position. Yes, sir. So when I did, then when you went out and started getting on TV, I started getting numerous of phone calls. Do you know Chris Lawless? Do you know his background? And they started telling me, and not just one person, but multiple persons telling me the same stories. Mm-hmm. Multiple people. Mm-hmm. About things, and I won't go into details. I don't do that.
He's going to go into details in a minute. You know he's going to. I mean, just that's enough right there. Like just the innuendo, where you just simply leave it open. And it's like, man, Chris, what have you been doing? What's Chris? Everybody's trying to talk to somebody that knows Chris now. What's Chris been up to?
Sure, but I'm saying that is why I changed my mind. I won't go into details. If you don't know what they are, then I'm sorry. If you do know what they are, then that's up to you. You don't have to tell people about it. But there was some very, very nasty stuff that come up about you.
I'm not going to tell the details. I'm just going to tell you that multiple people have called me. We don't know any of them. We're not being told anything. We're just sitting here watching as he smears Chris Lawless without giving him a clue as to what it is. Nasty stuff. Now, nasty stuff, that's the detail. And if you don't know what it is, Chris, then whatever. But you know, I'm here to tell everybody in the community that you don't know Chris Lawless, and I'm not going to give you details. Nasty. There's some of them nasty, but I'm not going to give them to you. And that's just the way that I'm going to leave this. Okay.
That I did not know about. So, I did my research. And I think the research that I did proved a lot of what they told me being true. Okay? I will not go into that. I won't. Sure. And I've told you that before. I don't do that. But that is the reason that I run with a campaign, is because I didn't think with your background history that I heard and that I judged to be correct would make you a viable board supervisor.
Hey, you just told us nothing. You just flat out tried your very best to assassinate his character, and you used all the community. And all we know is a lot of nasty stuff going on in Chris Lawless' life. Really? Do we know that? Do you know how many times Joe's been married? I mean, just, do you know that when you break a marriage, that's a covenant? It used to be the case that you had to go to court and you really were suing each other for breach of contract. And I have him on tape. I'm saying Joe on his marriage stories. And then I also know individuals in his family. So if you want me to let you hear tapes, then I could do that. But I'm not actually saying anything about that. I'm just simply saying, do you know that how many times he's been married? I mean, get on the county, on the register, you can figure out when people marry and divorce, and it's things that you can easily look into. Well, does that not count? And so, you know, me being the way I am, I call Chris up and I asked him, I said, what is the deal? What is it that, that Joe's talking about here? And he told me. And it's like, really? So basically, he's building all of this up, and he's figuring that it's just going to be something that a lot of people won't ask about or whatever. I mean, do you have to tell everything about yourself when you're running for office? I'm just asking. For instance, if I wanted to run for city council, if I have a felony, if I've had a felony, and somebody can call us up. I think our phone lines are up. My cell phone is sitting here right beside me. If I wanted to run for city county or for office for city council, if I have ever committed a felony, would I be able to run, or would I be disqualified? Do I have to tell you that kind of thing? Nowadays when you go into different countries, you used to didn't have to. There are a lot more questions about different things, but it's just like, is there anything that you can outlive? And so this is basically what Chris is dealing with Joe. I just really thought that was very distasteful, and here is why. Let's contrast Joe with the young man that, let me put this out there first. This has nothing to do with, I think this, I'll keep it, it'll be funnier at the end. Okay, so this is the young man that pressed charges on Joe 6 months ago for assault. Okay, it's lengthy, but listen to the character that this young man displays. 24-year-old Cecil Gage, I can't think of his last name at this moment. Handy.
At first I didn't want to press charges, honest to God, I wasn't going to. After the fact, an apology from just about anybody, because I told Joe I didn't want to hear his apology. Yeah, he might have tried to give one. I cut him off, but Robin or Joey, I didn't expect him to take my side,
Yeah.
but I didn't expect it to go that way completely.
Yeah, for
110%
people who
against
don't know who are Robin and Joey.
Robin is going to be Joe's wife, and Joey's going to be their son.
Now, why are we in this? You might be saying, well, it's like, y'all are just a bunch of gossips. Why are y'all in this? This young man and his girlfriend were attending 823 Starling Avenue at the time. And so it's not like we're, out there rustling him up and, trying to do investigative work for him. This is a personal relationship, and then this event transpires. Something transpired, but continue to listen.
Joey wasn't there during the event, but after the fact, he came in, and I was expecting at least kind of just an awkward moment. I wasn't expecting everybody just to be completely against me, because they pretty much just doubled down on how awful I was to be around, how many customers have complained about me through the years, but also on the same note at the same time talking about how happy they were to have me all that time and how they hate that they're going to have to lose me. So it was bouncing on both sides of the extreme, and after the facts, I told the magistrate, I said, if I would have laid a finger on him, if I would have fought back, or if I would have done to him what he did to me, he would have pressed charges. Him being in his position of power, they would have stuck, and I'd be a felon for the rest of my life. Because I know how easy it would have been for him to do the same thing I'm trying to do, and he would have done it in a heartbeat. And that doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to, I know it's difficult to try to prosecute somebody in that position, and I know I'm going to I ain't got the best chance with it, but being that it would be stacked directly against me if it was reversed, I feel at least I have a need to try.
Well, one thing that you said in there, how long had you been working at Bryant Radio?
Over 3.5 years.
Okay.
And I've known the family for over 7.
Okay. How did you make the family connection before you started working there?
I started chopping audio, and I was getting into the hobby at 16 and some change, and steadily was a customer of theirs for years and years, and finally got to a point where I'd accumulated enough knowledge doing it myself to where I could actually take a profession in it. So May of 4 years ago is when I started working there, and they had wanted me to work there for a handful of years prior. It just, where I was working at another location that was short-staffed, position opened up where I could slide out, and I went with them.
Now, I think you said before you actually started working there, you've actually interned with local law enforcement?
The Henry County Sheriff's Department I did for a semester in schooling, and then the Martinsville PD with their investigations I did a year as well.
Okay, a year with them. How did that go?
Good.
Okay, so, you got all this local interaction, and then you, meet the family, and you come in and you start working. So, you said working there for 4 years, and you said, how old are you again?
24.
Okay, so you were, that's good stuff. Hey, man, there's loads of guys in their 20s. They can't keep a job for 4 years.
Oh, I know. I grew up with it.
And so, I just feel like I don't know how it's going to shake out, Gage, as far as the legal matters go, but I can just tell you, I don't like that you're not getting any credit for holding a job, for being a graduate, and you got these good marks, and it's like that the thing that's just against you is that you're not a politician. And I'm not even commenting on the legal aspect of it, but I am saying the fairness of it it's a bit crazy to me. Like you said, no local media's contacted you. Well, they certainly contacted Joe Bryant.
Oh, I know.
And it's like they want that story. So when you're working there for 4 years, did you have any type of position over there, what with some type of a title? You working there?
Yeah, like I said, I knew once he grabbed me, once it got physical, I knew in that moment I wouldn't be working there ever again. But what I expected to happen after the fact, I at least expected a little bit of an apology to try to smooth things over, because I'd like to still have the opportunity to be a customer, because now the closest shop is an hour in any direction, and that's been my hobby of 8 going on 9 years.
Well, okay, and we're about to get on that. So I make this note because I don't think it would be realistic for people to hear some of this and say, this is just a kid making this loose charge against Joe Bryant. It's like, you're not happy about it.
Yeah.
And you would wish that it had not even happened at all. But when you said about the hobby on 8 or 9 years, also, this is another one that I think is important to people. It's not just like a job. You're like, I'll go out and get another job. based on what I have seen, it kind of looks like you're invested in a whole community.
Oh, yes.
So, what, like your sound system? I've heard different things. You tell me what it is. Like it's a radio business.
Mm-hmm.
Your car, is it the loudest in the state?
Yes.
Okay.
It was, when we do NSBO, there's a guy in North Carolina that runs a shop, and he runs an organization that governs a handful of states on the East Coast. And my car ended up being the loudest score put up in this state. And pretty much, like I said, where I'm losing the connection through the shop, and like you said, it was a community. It was deeper than a job, a lot deeper than a job.
Yeah.
So pretty much I had to sell my car. Not that I needed the money, but what the car was, they wouldn't have picked it up till pretty much first of the year, which was when it was picked up. So that's why the day I swore to the magistrate, and then the day he got picked up was so far apart, was just due to the holidays.
Okay. Then another one is, I had heard some people say, you know, Joe Bryant, he didn't have to do a mugshot. Do you care? Did that bother you?
I understand why that's in place, because I mean there are political figures that will have people swear things against them to defame them.
Yeah.
And with the instance of Ray Reynolds bringing it forward and people making that assumption, that does happen. So I'm not upset for people having that assumption. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
And for those false claims, I will say it is nice to have that protection with people. But in instances that stuff does happen, I mean, it's a little unfair. But I went to school for criminal justice. I took it for 4 years and changed courses, didn't get a degree. But I know how the legal system works. It's flawed, but so is every system. Mm-hmm. But I believe it's as good as it can be, and I'm not upset by how it went.
Well, you're involved.
Would I like to seen him mug-shotted, fingered, and I'd like to have that kind of framed on my wall kind of deal. Yes, but for the sake of the legal system, and I know how it works.
Yeah,
it's fair. That's how it should be. Mm-hmm. Because if anybody in his position could be falsely accused and have mug shots, it would be very damaging for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think about that? I'm saying, what do you think about the character of this young guy? I mean, it's very evident that he is a thinker, and he says that he's been assaulted, and there are, like, the whole industry associated with Joe Bryant knows that he doesn't have the car anymore. And I mean, it was known to us already that his car was what it was, and they were doing a lot of this for charity. I think Toys for Tots benefited from the shows that they put on. And it's just, you've got a young guy who claims that he went through something with Joe, and it doesn't sound like he's holding a grudge, and he certainly understands how easy it would be to defame someone, and it just not be fair. And then you turn around and you watch Joe Bryant, and he's just talking about all these multiple people that are telling him all these things about Chris Lawless, nasty. You're just such a bad person that I just couldn't put you off on the county. And there is nothing there. I'm not saying that I know what's there. I'm saying when I asked Chris, he told me what the thing was that he thinks that is in Joe's mind. But it's like, who in the world is going to even begin to figure out or think that it could be anything that is something that, well, imagine that. That would just be, never would have dreamed that it was something that simple, and yet Joe just built it up. Now, here's the thing. This is what I was saving on Joe Bryant. When Joe was running before, I was involved with that too. I actually endorsed one of the candidate that was running against him, and take a listen.
So you run, I'm not going to run to lose, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm going to run to win.
Right.
But I'm not going to bash you. I'm not going to go out and run your name down and try to bash you, because that's not how I work,
right.
You know?
That's not how you work. Innuendo, stories that people are telling, and I mean, some of these people should have to come forward with their storytelling. I mean, this is just simply what we're saying here. This is a biblical precedent, and the way to keep this kind of thing, anybody can destroy your reputation. Can I tell you something? I don't enjoy telling you stuff about myself, but somebody else already told it. So basically, the secretary at a church in town looked up my criminal record and found out that at age 18 that I had gotten in trouble. And I spent time in the penitentiary. Do you know that people got on the news media back then and actually said things like, I raped a 3-year-old? And, you know, it's like, what? You can get away with that? Yes. People can, they can just start assuming stuff. And so somebody might say, well, what were you doing? I was involved in robbing somebody. Well, that's not much better than raping a 3-year-old. Well, in my mind, it is a lot different. And I paid for it, and I'm still paying for it and trying to make amends for it. And so the idea that he is just pretending that he is not smearing and that he is not putting Chris in a position of having to defend himself. You know, I didn't really have to defend myself when that was going on. I put a picture of Hitler up when that was going on Star News back in the day. And I just put a picture of Hitler, and I just said, you know, if people started saying that I was Hitler, I would just say, I'm not Hitler. I don't have to defend myself. You can say I'm Hitler if you want to. I don't have to defend myself about stuff that y'all are believing and saying. What is my defense is how I am behaving and how I have turned out. And that really is how all of this is by design. It's like you should have a chance. All right, so this is not his MO, he says. Well, watch what happened next.
So you run, I'm not going to run to lose, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm going to run to win.
Right.
But I'm not going to bash you. I'm not going to go out and run your name down and try to bash you, because that's not how I work.
Right.
You know, I'm a Christian, and you know that I'm a member of the Church of Christ.
Oh yeah.
I'm not associated with Johnny Robertson's group, but we are.
Well. So I'm a Christian, and you know I'm a member of the Church of Christ, but I'm not associated with Johnny Robertson. Well, you know, you can take your pick. I'm saying I'm on this broadcast by request to actually say things and ask questions and give you information and put things out there that are actually tangible. You know what I would like? I would like for Joe to take a lie detector test about the assault charge. I mean, if you don't have anything to hide, I know he lawyered up, and I'm just saying, I don't know what you think about that. I don't know if a lie detector test is any more difficult than having a drug test, you know? I mean, people are taking drug tests all the time. It's one of the Blood Corp's biggest businesses now, Blood Corp. So what's a little lie detector test? Because how do we know what really did happen in that setting? We just know that it's dismissed. I know there's more details that I'm not telling you. And so, but he was right when he said, I am a nobody. It's not like they can take anything from me. I'm not anybody anyway. That's what Gage was saying. And it's just, he said, it's just not right. So I press charges, and you could tell that there's nothing really going on with him at this point in that regard. So I'm not a part of Johnny Robertson.
Of the same church,
Right.
the Church of Christ, okay? And I believe that you need to treat people fairly. And I don't run people down. Now, Andrew told me the same thing. He said, look, I don't do that.
But you didn't say I go with the flow?
Who goes with the flow?
He kind of made an impression. I'm not paraphrasing here, but it's like you just kind of go with the system.
I go with the flow?
Yeah.
As in flowing what? I don't understand what you're talking about. I've never went with the flow. I'm serious. You can ask anybody that I know of.
The way I applied it, it was just like you kind of go along and get along.
You're talking about on the board?
Yeah.
On the board of supervisors?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. No. Why would you say that?
But you did vote against reversion.
Yeah.
All right.
I voted against several things.
So, my take is I would definitely want to be able to hear who is it that's saying something about Chris, and somebody give something credible. Because, I mean, okay, somebody probably didn't like that was Old Testament. Well, in 1 Timothy 5:19, against an elder receive not an accusation, but before 2 or 3 witnesses, them that sin rebuke before all, that others also may fear. And then you have the element of things that did happen. I'd rarely have anybody say anything to me about having served time. I mean, there are, I did have one guy had heard about it, and he said, well, at least you didn't rob somebody. And I'm like, that's where we are. So I deserve, like, if somebody brings it up, I did it, I deserve it. And there's proof of it. But when you have other people that will just, I mean, for all we know, this is all made up for who knows what reason. I don't know. I've seen some of the campaign antics back and forth, and I don't really have the answers for this. But I can tell you this. This is really life. This is how life goes. When you're trying to undermine your opponent, there really isn't, ethics just don't seem, and him claiming to be a member of the Church of Christ, the church that they're in over there is just, you talk about go along. That is just go along. The people that would be members in the Martinsville Church of Christ, that were just openly involved in blatant misbehavior, and we would say, you're going to have to repent. We would call out what it was that was going on, demonstrate that it was going on, and they were either going to have to repent, or we were going to quit communicating with them. In other words, we were not going to continue to allow themselves to have the companionship that they would enjoy as a person who is trying to do what they say that the Bible says to do. They would go over there and they would take them in. Same thing with Ridgeway, Church of Christ. Same thing with another one over in 2 other ones, 3 other ones. It's just these different people do what they want to, and they're not actually talking to you tonight and giving you information. Look at this. This is just, when you think about what the Bible can actually help you with, I'm saying what it can give you, the possibility of your mind going through different scenarios and saying, yeah, this could be what is going on. Do you know when Paul, an individual who was trying to do everything he could to heal division between Jews and Gentiles, and as he was close to the end of what it was he was trying to do, which is to give alms, give needed help to Jews in a famine from Gentiles, this is how it basically, this is, and to me this is Joe. For we have found this man a pestilent fellow. You can just say anything, and some of it will stick. That Chris Lawless, a lot of people, they say he is you fill in the blanks. We have found this man. Who has found this? Where is the diligent, where is this judge, this diligent inquisition? We should not be taking stuff just because somebody said that. Now, that brings me to another video that I want to show you. You might say, well, Johnny, I just don't see, I don't see how you get to measure up in this. Take a look at this.
The reason I went to Duncanville, like the really reason I went to Duncanville, is because Ms. Benavidez told me that Patrick Harvey did not, he had a grudge against her, had to do with her wife and a job. Now,
His wife and a job is what Aretha told me.
Aretha, if I misunderstood you, then I'm apologizing right now. I don't think that I did misunderstand you. Sometimes you are really quick on your feet, and things that you say, I don't really think you're thinking that someone's going to check it out. My understanding is that she said that she had promised Patrick's wife a job. It could be that I did misunderstand her and that she had promised Patrick's wife friend a job. Patrick's wife is retired. She's been in a public school system for 40 years, and she's met a lot of individuals. And
Why is this important? Do you realize that Martinsville spent, I don't know how many thousands of dollars to do a search for a city manager? And right now, a Texas town is doing the same thing. They're spending thousands, if not, let's say tens of thousands for sure, across the nation to find their next city manager. And Aretha is in the running. There are 4 people that are actually being looked at in Elgin, Texas, and she's in the running. My question is, why is it that people from Martinsville didn't go where she was in Duncanville, Texas, and find out what was going on? Because ultimately, the closer I got to her, the more friendly she became, the more dire the situation ended up getting. I drove over 1,200 miles to Duncanville to talk to the city manager who was responsible for firing her, not city manager, a city councilman who led the charge to fire her. And what we find out is he is a black man. Another black man was also involved in getting rid of her. And I wanted to know about the story that she had told and if I misunderstood it or not. Because these things matter. People's behavior, it matters. And our city didn't do their diligence. And I'm saying these people would have answered the question. I also have a video of the city manager that took over for her. And I was told by the persons in charge that she would not come up with a physical end of the year audit. I understand that Martinsville is having the exact same problem. And so the interim person where she is headed is making $240,000. And interim person. So if she's moving there, she stayed with us, our money went to her, we had a mess, we have a mess, and it's like, is that not the principle that we're talking about here? Why is it that we don't do our diligent, our search? We have found this man a pestilent fellow and a mover of sedition among all the Jews throughout the world. And do you know that's exactly what is said about us? I have a very hard time not a really hard time. I mean, none of this stuff is like we're in civil war in Gaza. But things are difficult for me because we're into so much stuff and people call us seditious. They say that we cause strife all the time, that we're very, very pestilent, and they have found that to be the case. These people don't find anything, they don't know anything about us out of here. I'm talking about the people that try to ruin our reputation, who also hath gone about profane the temple, whom we took and would have judged according to our law, but the chief captain Lysias came upon us, and with great violence took him away from our hands, commanding his accusers to come unto thee, by examining of whom thyself mayest take knowledge of all the things whereof we accuse him. So now they're having this full-on trial in another place as a result of someone saying, some group of individuals saying, we found him to be a pest. We found him to profane the temple. And in Acts chapter 24, verse 17, Paul ends up saying, look, after many years, the reason I even came to Jerusalem is to bring alms to my nation and offerings. Whereupon certain Jews from Asia found me purified in the temple, neither with multitude nor tumult, who ought to have been here before you to object if they had anything against me. Why are these people getting to tell Joe Bryant all this stuff, and why is Joe Bryant listening? I can tell you this, I don't do that stuff over here. Like the Church of Christ that is located, that assembles here, the Church of Christ that you know, people that you know that are members of the Martinsville Church of Christ that meets at 823, we're not that kind of people. I actually, when people ask me what I do, I tell them often I find myself auditing churches. And they're like, what? Yeah, there are a lot of bad players in church. And a lot of them, one of the first things they say, I'm a Christian, you know. But I'm basically telling you all this innuendo about Chris Lawless that I really can't tell you. I'm not that kind of person. I don't give details, nasty stuff, but I don't give details. And oh, by the way, I'm not a member of the Church of Christ where Johnny Robertson is. You absolutely are not a member of the body of Christ in good standing, and this is exactly why. So he said these people should have been here. That's who we should be hearing from, is some of these individuals, if they have something that is viable, that they can establish, or else let these same here say, if they found any evil doing in me while I stood before the council. It's that simple. In Acts 21, when it started, the whole thing started, this is what happened to Paul. Some individuals cried out, men of Israel, help, this is the man that teacheth all men everywhere against the people and the law and this place, and further brought Greeks into the temple and have polluted this holy place. For they had seen before with him in the city Trophimus and Ephesian, whom they supposed that Paul had brought into the temple. How do we know anything that Joe Bryant is saying is true? And I'm just asking you, why don't you ask Joe Bryant? How about taking a lie detector test on that business having to do with Gage Handy? That young guy seemed like a pretty valuable employee and seemed like he knew what he was doing. And, you know, something went on there. And since you're so determined to get all this stuff that you can't actually verify, doesn't sound like, you're not willing to tell it. I'm not going to tell it. If you don't know it, well, then okay, but it's some nasty stuff. Man, that is really, I'm going to say, it's pretty close to one of those worser things that you actually see happen in politics. Now, let me move to my just something that I think a lot of people thought that I would really be on, and that is the fact that Gino Jennings is going to be within how many miles it is to the Corey Convention Center in about a week. And I want to basically bring that up, so take a listen.
He does, and let me tell you something else about his room in Philadelphia, the headquarters in Philadelphia.
Well, any location is
Prince room.
lady that's sitting right here now.
know Gino and we know Johnny and we like
All about Pastor Jennings preaching is one. Why don't you stop doing that internet cheap talk and come on in here? Amen. I said there's one God and I challenge the world. Amen. Let's figure out if he's against you or for you. Robertson, I met a few occasions down there in Martinsville. Yeah. First time he attacked me.
Stop that cheap podcast internet talk and come in here. And then he says, he attacked me. Oh, he attacked me. Y'all know what Barberman Floyd from Andy Griffith? Oh, he pushed me real hard. It was an assault. He attacked me. What are you talking about? Gino Jennings, again, one of the roughest teachers inside the charismatic holiness group sect. And he said, Johnny Robertson attacked me. What he just did was he played to his disciples who say Gino can do no wrong. But honest folk saw that and say, now we know Gino and we know Johnny and we'd like to have a good, honest discussion. But you know good and well Johnny Robertson did not attack Gino.
Okay, there were plenty of people that were there. So here we go. This is our last scripture on this business about how we're supposed to be. Holding fast the faithful word, this is Titus 1:9, holding fast the faithful word as he hath been taught, that he may be able by sound doctrine both to exhort and to convince the gainsayers. For they are many, unruly, and vain talkers, and deceivers, especially they of the circumcision, whose mouths must be stopped, who subvert whole houses, teaching things which they ought not, for filthy lucre's sake. I don't know how lucrative it is to be in that job, but, and I don't know Chris. From what I understand, Chris has been married to his same wife for 10 plus years. I believe that he has adopted a son, and that's admirable. I'm just saying, I don't think this is the kind of stuff that anybody would like to have happen to them. And that is another scripture that we all know. And that is, whatsoever you would that men do unto you, you do unto them. I don't like it that Joe is basically making this kind of scene about Chris without me even knowing Chris. I don't like this. And I'd already been through giving Gage a platform. We gave Gage a platform because the news was really not giving him a fair shake at all. By the way, Charles apologized about that. And so that's where we are. And I hope we have a good election. And I hope you feel like you maybe want to investigate just a little bit more into who is really who, and let's turn some of this around. Thank you for being with us. As always, we appreciate you for watching What Does the Bible Say? You can find us on YouTube, simply typing in my name in a YouTube search, and you're going to get What Does the Bible Say? Tell a friend about this. And also put into practice the principles that we talked about tonight. Don't be carrying rumors. Try your very best to make sure that you're upholding the truth, because those things that you might be wanting to do to somebody else, they're going to come around back on you if you trust God's word. Thanks for being with us. God bless you. Good night.